world of anime is full of incredibly overpowered characters, but what if you had the ability to travel across the universes and draft one team to beat them all? In today's video, let's create the strongest team in anime history. Now before we begin, I want to lay out a few rules. First, we can't have deities that are literally omnipotent, like Zeno from Dragon Ball Super, because that would defeat the purpose of creating a team in the first place. Second, let's restrict this team with only one character per franchise, because we know some series just have crazier power scaling than others. Alright, so let's kick off with our team captain. Leaders like Monkey D. Luffy and Roy Mustang immediately come to mind, but they don't work in this team because they care too much about their comrades. You can't possibly imagine a scenario where Mustang or Luffy make the right call in a situation where they're forced to sacrifice their allies. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Commander Erwin Smith from Attack on Titan. Now, Erwin has it all, whether it's intelligence, courage, or the charisma to make you dedicate your heart to the cause. But there's one leader who's an even better pick than Erwin, and that's Lelouch Viverchania from Code Geass. While he's just a teenager, Lelouch started as a prince exiled in Japan and fought his way right up to the throne of the Holy Britannian Empire. But what puts Lelouch clearly above the other captains is his Geass, the power of absolute obedience. This is an incredibly broken ability for a leader to have, and Lelouch has the tactical acumen to wield it to perfection. Moving on to our next category, we need someone to be the muscle for the team. Whoever's in this role needs to have the offensive capability to face off against the strongest fighters from any universe and still come out on top. This is also one of the easiest of categories, because let's face it, what ability is stronger than the power to take out an enemy with a single punch? Saitama has faced not only monsters, but intergalactic threats such as Boros, and punched his way right through them. Saitama's greatest achievement though is his battle against Garo's Cosmic Fear mode. In this form, Garo accepted the influence of God to transform into a being that could alter space and time. But even that wasn't enough to overpower Saitama, because no matter how fast Garo evolved, the caped Baldy could grow one step faster. Following our muscle, we need a tank, which is a role for someone who can soak up a bunch of hits while protecting the physically weaker members of the team. Now, there are quite a few characters in anime known for being defensive specialists, such as Maple from Bofuri, or Naofumi from Shield Hero. However, these two don't really fit our bill since they haven't handled planetary level threats. Since we already have the bronze sorted, the best place to find a tank would be the Dragon Ball universe. There are a bunch of incredibly strong characters here, like Goku, Broly, Jiren, but there's one character who's known for taking insane damage and still coming back for more. Obviously, I'm talking about none other than Frieza, who basically served as Universe 7's decoy to distract the Universe 11 fighters, but still survived to the very end of the Tournament of Power. But his most notable feat of endurance came way before that in Dragon Ball Z. Remember the first time Goku went Super Saiyan? He beat Frieza to within an inch of his life, cut the alien overlord in half with a Destructo Disc, and blew up Planet Namek. And guess what? Frieza survived all of that without the Dragon Balls. Frieza is by no means a weak fighter either, and in his new black form, he has a legitimate claim to being the strongest villain in the Dragon Ball universe. If there was an award for taking everything the world has to throw at you and coming back 10 times stronger, it would definitely go to Frieza. It seems we have the powerhouses sorted, but they can be a bit reckless in battle, and every successful team needs a healer to minimize casualties. Tsunade and Sakura from Naruto, alongside Josuke from the JoJo universe, are some of the best healers in anime, but I think we can do better. It turns out that the most powerful healer in anime doesn't even specialize in healing specifically. Orihime Inoue from Bleach possesses a unique ability called the Shunshin Rika, which allows her to project phenomena. Now, while Orihime's reality warping abilities would make her a deadly threat on the battlefield, her mild disposition forces her into a support role. But how does the Shunshin Rika work as a healing tool? Basically, Orihime can reject any events that cause damage to her teammates, returning them to a state where they were not injured. The implications of this are crazy, because Orihime can not only heal regular flesh wounds, but bring back entire detached body parts, like when she regenerated Grimmjow Jaegerjac's arm. All this time, we've been gathering resources for battle, but now we need a character that can figure out how to make the most out of them. I'm talking about the team's tactician, the mastermind who figures out when to strike and how. We already have a great tactician in the form of Lelouch, but he's someone who specializes in military and political maneuvering. The same is true for yet another tactical genius, Hangan Lee from The Legend of the Galactic Heroes. While Yang's resourcefulness is unmatched, it's unclear how well he'd handle plans for a superpowered unit. That leaves us with the finest tactical mind of the Naruto universe, Shikamaru Nara. Shikamaru has proven his combat intelligence time and time again, by outclassing fighters far stronger than himself even before he was a Chunin. Shikamaru is also perfect for an advisory role, because he's served in the same position for 3 Hokage so far. Tsunade, Kakashi, and Naruto all understood Shikamaru's potential and made sure to have him by their side as a tactician. Let's keep on adding to the brains of the operation by finding a scientist for our team as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely Senku from Dr. Stone makes the list, and I can see the reasoning. He basically built modern technology from scratch in a prehistoric world with no tools or machinery. However, that's Senku's major drawback as well. He's limited by his knowledge of regular science and technology, and we haven't seen him dream big and create something that humanity has never seen before. Now, Bulma from Dragon Ball would have been a great pick, as the Capsule Corps heiress has created some awesome gadgets in the past. In Dragon Ball Z, she even invented a time machine, allowing future Trunks to save the main timeline. However, we've already picked Frieza, so that's not an option either. So which scientist can rival these two geniuses? Well, if you're creating a team this powerful, the only thing better than a great scientist is a mad scientist, which means we'll be picking Rintaro Okabe from Steins Gate. As the founder of the Future Gadgets Lab, Rintaro is always trying to create something new, even if it makes no sense. However, rejecting common sense is also Rintaro's greatest strength, as he pushes past the boundaries of our knowledge. The next category we need to fill is a weapon user, someone who uses tools to add a new dimension to the battle. Standard fighters like swordsmen and sharpshooters can't possibly make it on this list because they lack destructive power. But that got me thinking, what kind of weapon would be the strongest of them all? And the answer was so obvious. The most powerful weapon used in anime is a mecha, because it can wield a supersized weapon while also protecting the user. Now, the first option that came to mind was Shinji's iconic Evangelion Unit 01, as it's shown to be capable of handling alien threats such as the Angels with ease. However, EVA 01 still had a ton of vulnerabilities, with the main one being its reliance on a power source. This brings us to arguably the most powerful mecha in fiction, the drill that pierces the heavens, Lagon from Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Operated by Simon and powered by his golden drill bit, Lagon draws its power from Simon's fighting spirit, meaning that its capabilities are almost limitless. When he channeled his spiral power through Lagon and combined it with the other members of Team Daiguren, Simon was able to create Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, a mecha capable of sending shockwaves through the universe. This team is looking great, but the only drawback is it's vulnerable to magic and the mystical arts. So to cover our bases, we need a sorcerer to join our forces. Now, if Jujutsu sorcerers count in this category, Sakuru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen would be a fan favorite pick. However, the problem with Gojo is that his magic lacks versatility. Aside from red, blue, purple, and infinity, there's not really a lot Gojo can do, and while these abilities make him an awesome combatant, what we're looking for in a sorcerer is more of a support role. Zarif's use of the black arts in Fairy Tail is another path we can go down. Unlike Gojo, Zarif's range of abilities is practically limitless, but his tendency to lose control of his spells could make Zarif a liability on our team. So that leaves us with the greatest mage in all of Britannia, Merlin from the Seven Deadly Sins. Merlin's signature ability, Infinity, allows her to keep spells active until she lifts them, meaning that a spell could potentially linger even after her death. Merlin is capable of performing all the standard magic spells you'd want from a sorcerer, such as power enhancement, shielding, teleportation, and surveillance. Given that Merlin has also proven herself to be a reliable teammate, her offensive and defensive capabilities perfectly complement the heavy hitters on our team. And that fills all 8 roles of the strongest team in anime history. Do you agree with our selections? Let us know who you would replace in the comments down below.